outside Lost Horizon, and I have Awkward here with me.
Very crew.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Lost my voice a bit because I talk on the phones all day fundraising, so I'm a bit like,
Oh yeah, okay.
It should be good. Should be all right.
Yeah. All right. How did you get started with DJing and music?
Probably got started getting involved, being aware of hip hop when Dougie Fresh and the show came out. So that was in 1985, so I was 9 years old. I don't know how I heard it. It would have been on like the chart show, Radio 1 chart show, when it was like medium wave or something like that. And this is like 1985, so 9 years old.
Yeah.
And just on the radio. And before that, I was into things like what my dad was listening to, like The Police, Led Zeppelin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I heard nothing like it. I might have heard White Lines by Melly Mel and the Furious Five. And so I really wanted the 7-inch. So at Christmas, 1985, I had the 7-inch.
No way, that's a story in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember getting it for Christmas and being at my grandmother's and playing the B-side, and the B-side is La Di Da Di, Slick Rick, and the lyrics on that are a bit,
Yeah.
they're not the sort of lyrics you want your grandparents to hear, let alone your parents, And I remember sort of listening to that, and with that, with your wrinkled, all that stuff at the end. I don't know if they paid attention to it, but listening to that, it was so nothing like it. It's like realizing, right, the beat is made by someone's mouth. Someone's beatboxing. There's someone rapping. It sounds English. What is this? What am I listening to?
Yeah.
And it's quite blurry, but not long after that, and this is 1985, there was a and this is really the pivotal stuff that got me into hip hop. There was a graffiti exhibition at the Arnolfini in 1985. So I was 9 years old, and my mum worked there at the Arnolfini. So I was aware of the show, and I had the 7-inch, and then so I went to that, and I knew I was into it. I knew I was into hip hop for some reason. I didn't really have any hip hop, I don't think, apart from that. And so I went to the opening of the exhibition.
Yeah.
And backtrack, prior to that, I was able to go to the gallery while they were painting. So I saw 3D, TCA, the Chrome Angels, Nick Walker, Ian Dark, all those people painting. Pride from London, from the Chrome Angels.
Yeah.
So I got to see them painting throughout, it's just first time ever seeing it, There was like a couple of graffiti pieces around Bristol at that time, probably 7 or 8, probably more. Yeah. People older than me would probably say, that was 20, but for me it was just one piece here, one piece there. There was a piece outside the Virgin Records mega store when that used to exist.
Like before you saw Wild Style.
Yeah, way before any of that stuff, So when I went to the opening at the Arnolfini, I got to see right in front of the Wild Bunch were playing, and now I sort of think, I wish I was older back then, because I would have appreciated it more. I would have been like, Wild Bunch, but I didn't really know any better. So I got to see people breaking in front of me. I got to hear MCs. I got to see DJs all in one sort of pack. That was it.
Yeah.
And that set me off. So in the bookshop at Arnolfini, they had records and books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they had the Wild Style soundtrack. So I saw the cover, graffiti, it looked amazing. I used to look at it, go in there every week just to have a look at the record. And I think it was too expensive, so my mum was like, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going in there, looking at the cover, looking at the stuff. And at the same time, in the gallery, they had a Betamax video playing of Style Wars. So Style Wars was, the documentary, the documentary, and which is a documentary, had Crazy Legs and Scene and all those people in it. So I got to see that. So I sit and watch that. And eventually I persuaded my mum, can I have the Wild Style record? So she got it for me. So I just sit and listen to that again and again and again. Yeah. And they had a book in the bookshop called Rap Attack, and it was by a journalist called David Toot. And it was a history of hip hop up to 1984. and it had like, you know, going all way back to funk and the connections to African music and all the way up to 1984. And I had that, and I read that back to front.
I know that.
Yeah, and then it had Grandmaster Flash on the front cover, and that book got battered. But at the back of the book, it had a section called Lightning Swords of Death, and it was 100 records that were up to 1984 that were out, you know, hip hop records. So there wasn't many records out back then, you know, it wasn't
free and
all that stuff, and stuff that I still haven't found now. So I would look at that list, and anytime I, you know, when I started getting older and looking, you know, going record shopping, I'd just look for those records or try and find it. Or so that was the start of it. And obviously going to secondary school, I had a friend of mine who had all the electro street sounds albums, and he would like dub them off for me. Turns out my friend Stuart Jackson, who I was in school with, who's now works in Massive Attack and all that sort of stuff, when we were in junior school, his older brother was getting all the dub-offs, like second-hand generations of street sounds electro, like 5, 6, 7, 8. And that was it. So the electro street sounds albums are so you know, it's going to the Arnolfini, and those set me off, you know. And so to try and cut a long story short, by the time we get to like 1987, I was listening to Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and just listening to that first album that they did. I had that on tape, and it was just like
Live at Union Square, man.
Well, that was the album after, but it was the Magnificent Jazzy Jeff, when he was like, make it sound like a
like a bird.
like a bird. There's a chirp. Now make a chirp. So I'm like, what's that? What's a chirp? It's jigga jigga jigga.
Yeah.
And he talks about transform, and you know. So I managed to somehow persuade my parents to get me a Goodman's belt drive turntable, and I had a Tandy mixer with no fader. It had a line switch. No, it did have a fader, but it had the line switch was like a light switch. Okay. And I learned how to with the line switch. So that's what got me started. And 1987, what I was started secondary school, so I was 11 years old.
Okay,
so that was like,
from there on.
That seems to be prime time for most people.
I think so.
I was 11 as well, but it was like.
But also another important part of that is there was a friend of the family who was, you know, someone that my dad used to work with, and his son was, when I was 9, he was like 16. And he had tapes of like FBI Crew, Wild Bunch tapes. He had like flyers, and every time we go, like my dad would go to visit him on Saturday morning, I'd like creep up and he'd be playing like whatever tapes were going. I was like, oh, he's like playing hip hop, and he'd lend me tapes. So I had tapes back then of the FBI Crew with FLX Felix rapping on it, which I didn't notice until years later. Sort of inspired me as a rap, because I was like, oh. They're from Bristol, they're rapping. So Chrissy Chris would be on there, and Zion and HMC and people like that. Rapping. I was like, oh, they're from Bristol. So my entry into hip hop, like some friends of mine who got into hip hop, they're like, oh, it's an American thing, and blah 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 blah, and I don't really relate to it so much. But for me, my entry point was seeing the Wild Bunch. My entry point was hearing FBI Crew, and them coming later, and hearing Bristol rappers. I was like, that was some of the first rappers I heard. So it didn't. I saw, you know, all the Wild Style and all that stuff afterwards, but it was really like
that's interesting, man. So,
Bristol hip hop, you know, and it was happening at the same time. So it wasn't like it came later or then I discovered it. It was just happening. You know? So I didn't think, oh, this is an American thing. It was just, oh, it's just happening. It's a thing.
What inspires you to like DJ and scratch and do graffiti as well?
all of that.
So I mean, all of that time period set me off, you know. So it, you know, I started learning how to tag, scratch, and rap all at the same time. You know, so it wasn't anything was different. You know, it just seemed like they're all connected, interconnected.
It wasn't that separated then, though. You had to do all of them until you find
your thing.
Absolutely.
Kind of end up finding which one you're going to be better at.
Yeah, and I think it was more common, you know, a couple of friends of mine who are a bit older than me would, you know, talking to them, they would say, oh, we did one or two things, like rap and like b-boy, you know. I mean, b-boy didn't come later. I didn't start breaking until 1997, and that was inspired by people who I knew, like Stepchild and other people who were starting.
And the Fresh 97 DVD.
Fresh 97, going to Fresh 97. Yeah, I went to that.
Yeah.
I
went to that.
Yeah, I went to that with Li and Pro Mantis and Jamie Hombre. Actually, went down.
Yeah.
And seeing the resurgence of it, but seeing all of it, I thought, well, I want to try to rap, sort of freestyle lots, and I was really focused on scratching it. It was a thing, I was really more into that, but it got to a point by 1991 or 92, I was starting to rap. I'd make tapes of making beats. I had 2 tape machines, Goodman's turntable, a mixer, and I'd overdub to get another layer of stuff on it, and every time you get another layer of hiss, and my rapping was terrible. I was like,
I really want to do it by then.
I just really wanted to just do it. I was like, I always want to make songs, and I used to sort of imagine what people would think if I was on stage, and what they'd think of my rapping, and what would they think.
I had that,
And I'd, at that point, 92, 93, I'd be listening to, 3 p.m. on the radio, and they had a couple of records out, and
I used to think Links as well, for the scratches on the radio. But.
Yeah, Links on the radio. Another big influence. Hearing Chrissy Chris and Cal's rapping on the radio, and I used to imagine, I wanted them to hear my rapping. I thought, one day I'll be rapping in front of them, and they might think it's good, which happened, and I got to be friends with them all, So that, but what inspires me, it's a long answer to the question, is just really enjoy it. I'm really into it. Like there is an element of like wanting to be like, my take on hip hop is like, I come from what you might call a b-boy school of practicing the elements. Like it's like a martial art, or it's like a getting into a science. Like you have to unlock the code. I think it's really important to, if you're going to be a part of the culture, to study the culture. So I think after studying it, just out of passion and interest for it, it made me want to try it and just get better at it. And when I started performing in front of people in like 93, 94, started rapping. I was in a couple of bands. I was DJing, scratching a lot, and I used to DJ at Louisiana. I used to play that. It was the first place I ever DJ'd, warming up for Scott Hendy. And a friend of mine, I was like, a friend of mine I was at college with said, my friends can scratch, and I got up there and sort of did my thing, and they said I'll come back. And I was like 17, but just I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to sort of I was aware that there was like a competitive element, which I still kind of hold to this day, that it's still in there somewhere. I'm like, I want to be better than this person. I want to be better. I want to show them.
Hip hop's all about that, man.
Battles.
Battle rapping to battle DJing, it's all about that. Battle breaking.
Totally, And for me, it's not about if you're entering into a battle or competition, or you want to be better than someone. It's not because you're, to me, it's not about arrogance, or it's not aggressive, or being a hater. Some people are, you're being a hater, and it's like, what are you talking about? After the battle, we should be like, cool. There's loads of b-boy battles and DJ battles and MC battles I've been in, because I've battled a lot, where at the end of it, you're like you want to fucking keep going for them, but at the end of it, you're like safe and you make new friends. Like we were talking about earlier, you coming up to me in E-Shed, I might have been a bit arrogant, I might have been whatever, but after building, scratching together, cool, you just build from that. And I was always slightly guarded, I'd be a bit like, keeping this to myself. I'm not going to show you how I do this thing. I'm not going to share with you how I learned this thing. I spent time doing this. That's changed over the years. I teach workshops, or chill with people and just freestyle together and whatever, scratch together and show people how you do it. But there was a point where it's like this special kind of science that you've got in your hands, and you're like, you have to study it, and it's really important, and it keeps it preserves the culture. And no matter what race you are, what background you are, where you come from, for me with hip hop specifically, if you study it and appreciate it properly and understand its roots and understand where it comes from, then that's the most important part of it, and that inspires me to keep going. And I'm less militant than I was. Like when I was like when you met me, I was probably at the end of being a bit militant.
Well, I was super militant as well, because when I met you, I was like, "Let me scratch, bro." And you're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, fuck you then. I'm gonna fucking show you." And then we ended up
friends for over 20 years. So and that's the beauty of it. It brings people together, and there is that competition. I think it's important. You know, I remember meeting Crest first time when I entered DMCs, and he entered, and he didn't have any records. And I was just like, who's this guy? He hadn't got any records. And I just thought, who's this guy? You know, and then he ends up winning a load of competitions and being incredible. You know, being inspirational. You know, back to me. You know, so I think it's the inspiration, being inspired by the people. I'm always on the quest to hear what's the next style of rapping, what's the next scratch, what's the next letter connection in a piece. You know, what's the next b-boy move, and you know, where's it, and the progression of it, and the cultural element to me is the thing. And you know, there's so many people who will kind of guard it and be like, well, you know, you've got to be from this background or this race or this and that, the other. And it's important to have gatekeepers. But to me, when I was coming up, I thought, well, okay, yeah, this is a black art form. You know, I'm not black, I'm white. I might not be from the same background as some of the people who are out there killing it, but I thought, well, in that case, I've really got to study this properly. I've got to show them that I fucking know what this is about. You know? I've got to really practice, and I've got to really be like, just be on point as much as possible. Yeah. And so, you know, that's what inspires me.
What does like creativity mean to you?
Creativity is, I mean, the obvious answer is it's an expression of the thoughts that coming out of a human's mind, manifesting it into reality. So, you know, creativity is it's important to have it. You know, it's important to, especially in this age of AI and things like that. I mean, AI can be a very interesting tool to use, but you know, human creativity is something that keeps us alive as who we are. You know, it's how we communicate to each other quite often. You know, it's how this building was built. You know, it's how that car was. It's how that phone is built. It's creativity. You know, the clothes we wear is creativity. The way we talk, the way we think. You know, it's connected to creativity. So, to me, creativity is really important to be alive. You know, it's what. It's how we communicate. Sometimes it's hard for people to get what's in here out, you know, and some of the most sort of most creative people who have lots of what am I trying to say? Like the creative passion and fire and expression that's in them. You might talk to them, might be super quiet, you know, and they might not have a lot to say, and then the next minute they're just like, it's all coming out. You know? And I was a bit like that when I was a kid. I was very quiet as a kid, and I used to get bullied a lot at school, and then by the time I was like, you know, 17, 18, 19, I was on stage rapping and like being in people's faces, you know, like, you know, so but creativity it's important to have. We can't lose creativity in the face of commerce or technology or even used technology. You know, it's you know, it's all there. You know, a pen is technology. You know, a pinhole camera is technology. Mobile phone, you know, it's all there. It's important to express your existence. You know?
Where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram. Really, I mean, most of my activities there is awkward_UK. I post up my art, my music, the collaborations I do with people. You know, I work with a lot of people in LA. I spend a lot of time working with rappers I was a fan of, you know, so I get a chance to do that. And I just funnel it all through that.
Check this out. He's about to rip it. Fantastic, enthusiastic, vocal gymnastic. Sticking every man, cause a static. House pieces at.
There's a lot of beats for a lot of big rappers, really, and like, you're pretty well known in the LA scene and stuff like that. How did that come about?
That came about from being, you know, because up to like 2007, most of the music I made was my own music. So I'd be rapping, DJ, you know, making all the beats and doing it myself. And when MySpace came along, you know, I'd go on there and put my music up on there, and you know, some instrumentals, mainly me rapping, and you know, it's link up. Oh, there's this underground LA hip hop group I'm into. They're all on here. Oh, this group I've never heard of, and you know, just looking at they're friends with this people, they're friends with that people. And I got made friends with a guy called Gaja, who sadly passed away in 2022 from a group called Acid Rain, which I've actually got a release coming out with them tomorrow, which is a collection of everything we did together. It's coming out tomorrow through their thing.
Yeah.
So I got a chat with him, and he's like, "You've got beats?" I'm like, "Yeah." And there was another guy called Rhetoric Ramirez, who was big up Rhetoric, battle rapper.
Yeah.
And he had got a tape that I made in 2001 from a friend of mine called Adrian, who's from San Jose, and he took it back over to America, made his own copies, gave a copy to Rhetoric. So when MySpace came about 7 years later, he's like, "Awkward, I got your tape from Ben."
Yeah.
We got chatting, so I did some beats for him, did some beats for Gaja. Next thing you know, Gaja's like, "Oh, I've got this friend of mine, Open Mike Eagle, should check him out." And Open Mike Eagle just had like maybe a mixtape out. He was in a crew called Thirsty Fish. He wasn't really that present, but he had a couple of solo stuff out.
Yeah.
We became friends, started making a lot of music together, which resulted in a whole album together in 2012.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I met Gel Rock on MySpace as well, who now I'm in the Cloaks with.
I was called Gel Rock.
Yeah, Gel Rock with a hard G.
Okay.
Yeah, so and just got in touch with different people all at the same time. And then one thing I would do with one person made the other person go, "Oh, can you do me some beats?" So Rhetoric, Gel Rock, Gaja, and then it just went. Well, all the stuff for Freestyle Fellowship came obviously years later, and that's
Freestyle Fellowship.
Oh, okay, they're one of my favorites.
yeah. I mean, same here. When I was like 17, 18, I was listening to Freestyle Fellowship, so that was a dream, and that was all through just being in the Cloaks, and reaching out to people. Became friends with Self Jupiter and through all of that. Did a couple of remixes for him, and then he was like, "Oh, do you want to? I've got these acapellas with the beats. We lost the beats.
Yeah.
Could you make some new beats?" So I did that. It eventually ended up coming out and came out on record recently. And just working with people like Meg Abusive. It's mainly been people from the LA Underground.
Yeah.
For one, because
you went there as well, didn't you?
well, I went there, because.
I remember one story you told me he was at traffic lights and you saw fucking, what's his name, Fireside.
Fat Lip on, yeah.
Fireside just crossing over the zebra.
It was a time when he wasn't doing well. He's doing well now, apparently.
Yeah.
But
I met him a year ago. When we supported him. And he's doing a bit better.
But yeah, I went to LA in 2010. I went there for 4 weeks just to sort of meet Open Mike Eagle. So I stayed with him. I stayed at Rhetoric's. And I went to the Project Blowed's 15-year anniversary, which I saw Freestyle Fellowship play with crazy jet lag.
Wow.
But then people I started chatting to, like Gel from Anticon, and Rash G was playing there, just different people. I was like, they're like, "Awkward, what are you doing in LA?" And it just went from there. And then I got made part of a crew called Makina Muerte, which was like Mestizo, D-Styles, Mr. Dibbs, load of people, like off the top of my head, like Exist Stereo, just say D-Styles, just load of people. And I got made a Rhetoric, got made a part of that crew, had releases come out in the early sort of 2011 to like 2014, and just that stuff just got noticed out there. So that all came from just working with one person, working with another. I was just into that type of hip hop a bit more. I thought, well, the rappers coming out of that area are way more experimental and better than from here or there. I wasn't really hearing that style of rapping in England.
Yeah.
I was kind of sort of trying to push boundaries with that here, and just started to have way more fun making beats for other people instead of doing it for myself. So I started rapping less, doing more production, more scratching. It's got to a point where I've just been able to carry on working with people. So with 4 albums in with the Cloaks, we're still doing that now. Beans from Bristol, he's involved in the Cloaks, as is D-Styles from Scratch Pickles.
You do some stuff with No Can Do as well?
Done stuff with No Can Do, done stuff with Mike Eagle, Acid Rain, Meg Abusive.
Even as a scratch DJ though, being on a track with these styles is like literally I would kill for that.
It's an amazing feeling to have you get the cuts back and you're mixing them down. And we did Cool Keith on a track, we had AC Alone, we've had like different people. So through that I've managed to even work with even more people I've been a fan of for years. So it's always like a pinch me moment, like they're on the track, like AC Alone's on the tune, Cool Keith's on it, getting the vocals back from Cool Keith and mixing that down was just a really weird, my 13-year-old self in like 1989 is going, never knew this was going to happen when I was like just listening to Ultramagnetics flat out, my favourite group ever. and it's just fun to do. I don't make any money from it. I mean, I have had some opportunities recently working for a company called Sonoton who do library music, and that's been cool. So there was money in that, but I don't do it to get paid. I've got a job and kids, so I've got to stick to that and be responsible. But I fit it in around that, So it's just like doing it. It's fun, like making new beats and like listening to them and having people rap on them, and so it's,
you're a legend. Even in the Bristol scene, like that plays it down. Like obviously global as well, but in the Bristol scene, Auckland.
It's fun.
Up to you, man.
I enjoy doing it, and I think now as well, there's way more. I think the Bristol scene's gone through like ups and downs of like the amount of people doing stuff. Like the b-boy scene was really good, then it went really small, and the graph scene was like big and then small, and wasn't that many MCs, and there's loads of MCs, so it's always good to see this this influx of new stuff happening all the time, and coming to this event and seeing like new people starting to scratch and stuff like that. It's good to see. I might still have that competitive edge when I'm getting up there, but it's good to, get almost 50 now, but it's important to have, like we're talking about creativity, you've got to keep sharp with what you do, and it's what we all do, people like us would still practice at Quest or whoever, being still on it,
It's great to see it.
Cool. All right.
Yes,
Excellent.
thank you so much.
No problem.
Big up, man.